Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to distill complex sources fast to give you clarity. Today we're diving into the situation in Gaza, which is, well, incredibly serious and moving quickly. We've got a stack of sources here, news reports on a new ground offensive, and also some really significant findings from a UN panel. Our mission, as always, is to unpack these critical and frankly sensitive developments for you. We want you to grasp the humanitarian side, the international reactions, and some very grave allegations. As this operation kicked off, Israel's defense minister was quoted saying, "Gaza is burning." And then there's this UN panel conclusion we need to talk about. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. And we will definitely get into the full weight of that UN conclusion shortly. But maybe first, to really understand the background for such serious claims, let's set the scene on the ground. Israeli forces, well, they've moved deeply into Gaza City. It's clearly an escalation. The Israeli military says they're aiming for full control of the city this time around.
Right. And the immediate result we're seeing is just massive displacement. Our sources are describing thousands just streaming out of the city. Long lines of cars, trucks piled high, many people just fleeing on foot. It's quite a picture. The Israeli military, I think, estimates around 350,000 people have left Gaza City.
Yeah.
Which had, over 1 million people to start with?
Yeah, it paints a really devastating picture of upheaval. And if you connect this, like you said, to the broader humanitarian situation, well, the EU's already warned this ground assault will just deepen an already catastrophic crisis. So that brings up, critical questions, long-term impact on civilians. Does this push any potential ceasefire even further away?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're even seeing some interesting international reactions, like Spain threatening to boycott Eurovision next year if Israel takes part.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's notable because Spain is one of the big five countries. Their money is pretty crucial for staging the contest, so it shows ripples even in, cultural diplomacy.
That really does underscore how wide the implications spread. Okay, but let's turn to that other major development I hinted at earlier. This UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry. It's a standing human rights body. They've concluded that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. That's a huge claim. It immediately shifts the whole legal and diplomatic conversation, doesn't it? What makes this particular finding so significant?
Precisely. It's significant because, this report marks the first time a UN-mandated investigative body has actually reached this conclusion, genocide. So it sets a really profound legal precedent, even before any court rules on it. It frames the whole discourse within the UN system around genocide now. That dramatically ramps up the international legal pressure.
Right.
The commission chief, Navi Pillay, she put it very clearly. She said genocide is occurring in Gaza. And she placed responsibility with the state of Israel, specifically accusing the Prime Minister and other top officials of incitement. They found Israel committed 4 of the 5 genocidal acts listed in that landmark 1948 Genocide Convention, the treaty set up after the Holocaust.
Right. The framework for defining and preventing it. And those acts remind us.
Well, the report details things like
killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm, grim categories. Also, deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about physical destruction, and imposing measures intended to prevent births.
Exactly. And the investigators said they looked at explicit statements from Israeli authorities, plus patterns of military action, as indicators of an intent to destroy Palestinians in Gaza as a group.
Okay, so that's the commission's finding. What has the reaction been?
Well, it's crucial to state that Israel has categorically rejected the report. They've called it distorted and false, and they've actually called for this specific commission to be abolished immediately.
Right. Strong rejection.
Yes, very strong. And it's also worth noting the UN rights chief, Volker Turk, he commented too. He said, look, it's ultimately up to the courts to determine if genocide is taking place, legally speaking. But he acknowledged that evidence is mounting, meaning the factual basis for such an investigation seems to be getting stronger in his view.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. We've got these 2 huge intertwined developments. How do they shape what happens next?
Yeah, so we've really talked about 2 major threads, right? Interconnected ones. First, this intense ground offensive in Gaza City causing mass displacement, huge humanitarian concerns. And second, these extremely serious allegations of genocide from a UN panel, which, as we said, Israel strongly rejects. The implications are just vast. From the immediate human suffering to this profound international legal and political scrutiny, it fundamentally shifts how this is seen globally.
It's an incredibly complex and frankly heartbreaking situation to follow. So maybe as a final thought for you, the listener, to consider, Think about how these different narratives intertwine. You've got the military action, the humanitarian crisis it creates, and these major international legal challenges. They all feed into this incredibly complex reality on the ground. Understanding each piece, well, it seems crucial to grasping the bigger picture. So, what does this all mean for the broader context of international law and maybe conflict resolution? How might these findings influence future diplomacy? Something to definitely ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.